Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu, and I'm back with another episode of Spoiler Sundays. So this is the time of the week where I take a look at all of the spoilers that we got for the Digimon card game over this past week and, well, talk about them. So we're getting towards the end in terms of the spoilers that they're going to be showing. We should realistically have only one more week before they potentially start showing off BT10. But regardless, we still have some really solid cards that are going to be making the Jesmon and ragnaloardmon starter deck really interesting decks to pick up and play when we get them in English. So, with all that said and done, onto the spoilers. First up, we have Candlemon. So, Candlemon is going to be that value vanilla rookie where it's just going to be 2 to hard play, making it a cheaper rookie to hard play than most others, 0 to Evo, which is pretty standard for a lot of rookies, and 3000 DP, which is a pretty decent DP stat for a level 3 to be having, and even though it's not really doing anything too special, these are starter decks, and they do need to fill them out with some basic cards to just to help teach the players card evaluation. Next up, we have Solarmon. So Solarmon is going to be a Floodgate rookie that we've seen before in the ragnaloardmon starter deck in the form of Chikurimon and in BT8 in the form of Psychmon. So Red is getting another Floodgate to be using, and it has the ability where during all turns, players can't reduce play costs. So it kind of just tries to limit some of the opponent's actions on the ability to just reduce their own play cost. So this is a really good card to shut down cards like Starmon, where ordinarily that would be a Mega that's really easy to play after it's set up, but thanks to Solarmon, it'll prevent those types of actions, forcing them to try to deal with Solarmon before they could make their more powerful plays possible. Next, we have a new version of Bao Hakman. So, Bao Hakman is very similar in terms of stats to his previous iteration all the way back in BT06, where he is a red level 4 Digimon, 5 to hard play, 2 to Evo, 6000 DP, nothing special there. He doesn't have any native abilities of his own, similar to the other Bao Hakman, and on top of that, his inheritable ability is pretty decent. So, this version of Bao Hakman is going to be your stereotypical DP booster. So it's just going to make the Digimon that you're going to be using on top of him a little bit stronger. So his inheritable ability more specifically states that during all turns, which is pretty cool because it allows your Digimon to be a little bit harder to interact with during the opponent's turn as well. While this Digimon has Hakman in its name or Royal Knights in its trait, then it gets plus 1000 DP. So even though it's not really doing anything too interesting or special, it's just acting again as that stereotypical DP booster, it's still a pretty decent card to use because we could actually use this in combination with various of our Royal Knights, and we have lots of transitional Digimon to try to think of using this card in some very creative ways. So we could use this card as an example in a Lord Knight deck, just because we do have a red-yellow transition, and this will help give Lord Knightmon and the yellow Royal Knights an extra plus 1000 DP, making them a little bit stronger. So there's just a lot of different things that we could do depending on the different types of cards that we're going to be playing with, more than what we could gather from his base synergy on how he wants to be played inside of the deck. But even in an upgraded version of Jesmon, it's still a pretty good card to have just because it's going to be increasing your Huck consistency on your mid to low level Digimon, so that way your search engines could have an easier time at being able to find your parts and pieces to climb the stages with. So I don't exactly know if this is going to be the greatest inheritable ability that the deck wants to be using, but it's definitely one that we could think about utilizing depending on how you build your deck. And the main reason why this ability isn't that important is because Jesmon, both of them, have very easy ways at being able to DP boost themselves, but a little bit extra punch, especially if it's going to make it harder for the opponent to interact, isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world to be thinking about for Jesmon. So I'm really curious to see how players are going to think about utilizing this type of a card. And then the last big spoiler that we got outside of cards we already had spoiled, just cleaned up versions of the art, is going to be Ludaman. So we knew that Ludaman was going to be coming. We knew that he's going to be a very similar Digimon to Zubamon in terms of his playstyle and stats, and, well, he is. So he has the ability to Digivolve off of a red and black Digi-Egg, which is pretty cool because it adds extra usability on even our Digi-Egg slots. Then on top of that, he is a black level 3 Digimon with only 1000 DP, and hard place for 3, which is more often than not how you're actually going to be utilizing this card rather than digivolving it on top of your Digi-Eggs. So his on-play ability states that by placing this Digimon at the bottom of one of your other Digimon with Legend Arm in its traits, or your other red Digimon's Digivolution source, we get to reveal the top card of our deck, and if that Digimon is a Digimon with Legend Arms in its traits, with a play cost of 7 or less, then we get to play that card for free, and then the rest go into our hand. So it's either going to be drawing us a card, replacing itself when we hard play it, or it's going to be playing a mid to low level Legend Arms. It's still a very powerful card to be using, especially since he's going to be adding himself to the inheritable source, and we want him as a inheritable source because his inheritable skill states that during the opponent's turn, while you have a Digimon with Legend Arms in its traits or a red Digimon, then this Digimon gains the blocker ability. So it's just an easy way to have access to that blocker ability, because Ragnaloardmon is supposed to be the Digimon that's representing the ultimate sword and the ultimate shield all in one, and the Ludaman line is the defensive line that Ragnaloardmon wants to try to take advantage of. So at the end of the day, you're still going to be doing Ragnaloardmon things where you're trying to gain lots of keywords and lots of abilities to be able to not only aggress, but be able to defend at the same time. And I think this card accomplishes that goal quite nicely, considering we know that the new Ragnaloardmon is also part red, and even the old Ragnaloardmon is just a solid red Digimon, so it's a very usable card, and I think it's going to help the deck quite a lot. But yeah, that's for the most part all of the spoils that we had. I know it was a pretty light week, and as we can see here with the deck lists for Jesmon and Ragnaloardmon, we're getting towards the end. So like I stated before, we realistically have only about one more week. They're going to show off these last cards highlighted in black, and then we should be moving on to BT10, which is going to be pretty exciting. And we know it's going to be Cross Wars themed, and we know that there's going to be a Jesmon X to help the Jesmon starter deck. So I don't exactly know how the Ragnaloardmon deck is going to get any additions if it is, but both of these starter decks are going to be really fun and interesting to be playing around with, just because of the different types of tools and the changes on how we approach the game as each set develops. So that's all I really have for this video. As always, feel free to tell me your thoughts down in the comments below, and down in the description below are a couple of different ways you could support me and the channel. So I do have a TCG Player affiliate link, so when you use that link to buy cards off of TCG Player, then some of that money will go to supporting me and the channel. I also do make and sell playmats over on Overcard Gamers on Facebook, so when you buy a playmat with my design, then some of that money will also go to help supporting me and the channel. And on top of all of that, I do have a Twitch account over on twitch.tv/Zenitsu, so giving me a follow and a subscription also helps support me there, and I do play Digimon on top of various other games on that platform as well. So thank you everyone for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.